Hello, Tico here. Hope everyone's well and safe as normal, and welcome to the first Q&A video of 2022. So let's get into it, shall we? To start us off with 3 questions is from CPR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the first question is, what is the longest train journey you have done? Back in 2017, it was a return trip between Gloucester and Weymouth on my beloved. Second question from CPR. What is your favourite shot of a train? There's loads. You can't really just pick one out of the hundreds of thousands that you've photos you've taken or videos. But anything with sprinters or railway charters, steam, diesel, anything like that really. Third and final question from CPR 1234, which is, have you ever been bowled for a special train? I was. This was last year. I think it was in June or July, I forget now. But yeah, it was a double-headed Class 37 movement from Crewe, and it was heading down south. And Class 170 had the decency of arriving into Platform 1 for a stopping service, which blocked my complete view of the train passing the station. Although I did manage to get at the southbound of Platform 1, which was fair enough. But still, a bit of a bowlage there. Next up with 2 questions is from Edward Evans. And the first question is, Class 60 or 66? 66. Second and final question from Edward Evans. What is your favourite diesel locomotive? There's loads. The 66s, the 68s, the 70s, 37s, 47s, 50s, 57s, 56s, 69s. Oh. If I had to choose one, however, I would say it would be the Class 50. Because they were the first diesel locomotives that I saw, and they were on the Severn Valley Railway. And this is when I was really young, like 3 or 4. And I got in the cab of one of them as well, which was even better. So Class 50s. Next up with 2 questions is from Jacob's Rail Adventures. And their first question is, are you looking forward to the 196s entering service? I am indeed. As they are local to me, they'll be running between Birmingham, Worcester and Hereford. And Worcester is literally 1 stop away from Ashchurch, so yeah, it'd be good to have a look at them, spot them and travel on them, and do a review if possible. Second and final question from Jacob's Rail Adventures. Do you think the 196 and 197s will have a similar wide quality? Well, they are the same train. It's just one, they're different companies, of course. 196s for West Midlands trains, 197s for Transport for Wales. I would imagine though there would be a bit of a difference in quality of the seats, because the 196s are only doing Birmingham, Shrewsbury, as well as Birmingham. Do you mind, Fran? I'm trying to film here. Conquerlord, man. Anyway, but the 197s are they're replacing most of the 197s. No, 197s, no. The 175s and the sprinters on long distance routes around Wales, so the Welsh Marshes line, the North Coast. Yeah, so I would imagine that they would have better seats and stuff for longer journeys, but as we know from experience, new trains have rock hard iron board seats. So just don't know until we try them, do we? Next up with 3 questions is from James Glossop Travels. Yeah, it's changes now. Yeah. First question, what train class are you looking forward to seeing this year? The 196s, the 484s, let's see what else I put on here. The 745/755s, the Basils, the ScotRail 153s, which they have stolen from Northern Trains, who Northern Train stole from Great Western Railway. Give us our sprinters back! As well as the Class 156s from ScotRail, the Class 318, which are basically 150s but Scotland and electric, You again got the Class 385s, them Hitachi trains, them cracking goose trams they are, aren't they, lad? As Jordan and Simon would know. Oh, Lord. But yeah, there's quite a few trains I'm looking forward to seeing this year, if, like, you know, all goes well. Second question from James. Would you do a train journey on the Trans-Pennine Express Nova 3 with the Class 68 this year? If I'm given the opportunity, I will have a look into it. Third and final question from James Glossop's Travels, which is, which episode from Tico Adventures has been your favourite to film? So far, I will say episode 2 part 2, because we saw the Pride, again, we've seen trains at speed, freight trains at speed, and loads of 158 sprinters. Loads of sprinters. Oh yeah. Sprinters! Glorious sprinters! Next up with 2 questions is from Josh's Railway Adventures. And their first question is, will you be travelling on the Great Western Railway sleeper this year? I don't know really. If I see an opportunity to travel on the Night Riviera, then I will. But they're not cheap. It's, you know, the tickets between London and Penzance are not exactly, yeah, they're quite expensive. It's the same with the Caledonian sleeper. But yeah. Second and final question from Josh's Railway Adventures. What are your plans for 2022? Well, for starters, I do have a goal, and that is to reach 1,000 subscribers by December the 31st of this year. So that'll be good. I've already reached the 400 mark, which is amazing. So thank you very much to everyone for 400 subscribers. What else? But I'm looking to cause chaos in certain parts of the UK this year, if I can, obviously. So the Isle of Wight, Wales, the North, Scotland, East Anglia. Oh yeah. And Devon, of course. So yeah. Next up with 3 questions is from Liam O'Connor. And their first question is, would you ever visit new stations like London Euston or Marylebone? I have visited both of these stations in the past, but I try to avoid London if I can because it's a very busy place, and considering what's going on with the pandemic, and the station staff are very tight there, tight security at this London area, so yeah, maybe one day in the future I'll probably head down to London. But for now, I just want to explore the rest of the country first. Yeah. Second question from Liam. Do you know any train drivers? Yeah, I do. I met Claydon 1980, well that's his Twitter name, at Longbridge. And whilst filming Tico Adventures episode 2 part 1. That was great actually, crossed City Line in one day. I've done crazy things, but that was mental. But yeah, there's a few drivers that I know locally. Michael, he always gives me a tone. He gives the local train spotters a couple of tones as well. And there's a few other drivers as well. Third and final, goose lord this wind. Third and final question from Liam O'Connor. Would you ever drive a train in the future? I have driven 2 trains in the past. 144017 at Scunthorpe and 142023, and if an opportunity presents itself, then I'll look into doing another driving experience. Next up with 2 questions is from Minnie Webster Junction, the Angel of Crew, and their first question is, when did you first ever meet your beloved 150? November 2001. At the Land of Mordor station, Kidderminster. I was waiting, it was my first ever train ride as well, between Kidderminster and Birmingham, and it was on my beloved, it wasn't really my beloved back then, 150001, but after that train ride got me into trains, and into 150s. And eventually I started calling my beloved my favourite train. Well, today my beloved. Because it's just brilliant. It's an awesome little train, isn't it? Second and final question from Minnie Webster Junction, the Angel of Crewe. What started you going out train spotting? As I said, my first train ride really got me into it. I don't realise that there's a massive network in the UK, and there's so many different types of trains to spot at different stations across the country, different operators, diesel, electric, steam. So yeah, it's that fascination of exploring and just having a look at all the trains and travelling on them that got me into train spotting really. And I used to travel on the trains all the time when I was at Kidderminster, mostly between Kiddy and Birmingham, Worcester and Hagley. But yeah, and sprinters, glorious sprinters. Next up with 3 questions is from On the Main Line, and their first question is, what is your favourite Class 66 livery? EWS, because EWS. Second question from On the Main Line, 390 Pendolino or 800/801? The 390 Pendolino, because they have the pride. They also have the climate train. Third and final question from On the Main Line, what is your favourite sprinter operator? Northern, because they have most of the 150s and my beloved, and all the 150s are served in the West Midlands. They will not be forgotten. They will always be as close to my heart as possible. Next up with 3 questions is from Pep, EMU fan. I'll try and do my Scouse accent. I don't think I'm going to do that very good. Never mind. First question, is there any particular rail tour you would like to go on in 2022? I don't really go on rail tours because they're expensive. I'd rather spot them. But I have heard that we might get the Flying Scotsman passing in February at our church, which would be good. The Midland Pullman, the Cumbrian Mountain Express, but just the Northern Belle. There's loads. I think I've made a list here. Flying Scotsman, Midland Pullman, Cornish Riviera, Cumbrian Mountain Express, Royal Sovereign, Northern Belle, and anything else that comes past. So yeah. Oh, Shakespeare Express as well. Second question from Pep. If your beloved 150.001 was to participate in a rail tour, what name would you consider calling the rail tour and where? Well, knowing me, it would either be West Midlands or West Midlands. What they put on here? Around Birmingham, on the Snow Hill lines, in the Central Trains livery, 150.001 with 150.002. Yes, it will be an awesome drive around on the Snow Hill lines. Central Trains Nostalgia. What else? What do they call it? Yeah, the Nostalgia Express, which all the 172s took over. Third and final question from Pep, EMU fan. Are there any EMUs you are considering to ride on in 2022? Hopefully the Peps. Merseyside, in Brighton, the East Coast way. But yeah, 313s, the 507, 508s. Next up with 3 questions is from Ruben Ashwell. And the first question is, are there any trains you haven't been on yet that you'd like to travel on? The Peps, our new 196s when they enter service, the 730s when they enter service, all the ScotRail trains, I've not been on them, and I would like to get on a 175 again, because I've only travelled on them once, and that was 2010 between Chester and Llandudno. Second question from Ruben. What tram system you haven't done yet that you'd like to do? Not really focused on trams, have I, this much? I'm mostly on trains, but I do have some tram plans actually. But I've been on the West Midlands Metro, of course, Manchester Metro Link, the Sheffield Super Tram network. I've been on the Blackpool one as well, both with the new trains and the old ones. I've yet to visit the London Tram network, the Nottingham Tram network, and the Edinburgh Tram network. So you never know. Third and final question from Ruben Ashwell. If you've not done so yet, would you ever consider travelling on a Eurostar through the Channel Tunnel? It has been on my list for a very long time, but yeah, probably in the future. Next up with 3 questions is from Simon the Railway Enthusiast 83. The first question is, do you plan on visiting any least used railway stations, and if you do, what station would you visit first? I've been to a few over the years. Obviously recently I've been to Hartlebury, Bordesley, Colwall, and I really genuinely believe that my local station, Ashchurch was the quietest, least used in Gloucestershire, but it actually turned out to be the 3rd least used, as Pilning is the least used station of Gloucestershire. Second question from Simon 83. Would you ever consider doing a Lost Railway series for your YouTube channel? I already have one. It's called Tika Explores. My first episode was back in April last year. Because, I'll be honest, it was quite difficult to film because it's out of my area. Because I just go around train spotting at different stations across the country and doing reviews on trains. So, for me to do something completely different, railway, it's still railway related, but yeah, it's a bit out of my area. So that took a lot of effort to do actually, but people seem to like it. Got over 100 views, and I did do a vote on if you wanted to see another episode, and you want to see another episode. So episode 2 is currently being planned. Third and final question from Simon the Railway Enthusiast 83. Who has inspired you on YouTube the most, and what have you learned from them the most? I'm not going to name anyone because I don't want any confrontations or problems, but there's a few. They've inspired me to grow confidence. Yeah, they've gave me confidence, and you know, this thing about not being the only crazy YouTuber out there who likes trains. So that was also encouraging. They've also taught me a lot about people in general. Not everyone you're going to come across in life you're going to be friends with. So yeah. And to just keep on going, keep positive, and don't let these things bring you down. In this picture with 3 questions is from Simon Trains, or as some people like to call him, Simon Trains, or Cyber Trades. The first question is, out of all the Tika adventures you've done so far, which one is your favourite? I think I've already actually answered this one, to be honest. Indeed I have actually. This was a James Glossop travel. He answered that, he gave me that question. So yeah, Tika Adventures episode 2 part 2, where I saw the Pride, I saw loads of freight, I saw your beloved 17502, and I saw loads of sprinters. Yeah. Second question from Cyber Trades. How did it feel to stand in front of the trolley Trolley service? Not you, go away, trolley. Go and find your trolley. Honestly. In the Tico Adventures to Hereford. For the first time ever, you actually see me standing on a train, inside the train, sorry, with a trolley service. Finally. No, it was great. The train staff on board were really nice, and they gave me the opportunity to do it. So I told them a bit about, you know, about my channel, and yeah, they said go for it. So it was very good to have that opportunity at last, but hopefully it will happen again. And to the GWR staff on that service, I salute you. Third and final question from Simon Trades, or Simon Trains, or Cyber Trades, and Carol. Hello, Carol. Which is, as Train Sim World 2 mentioned that they are releasing Liverpool to Crewe in 1958, will you be getting it? Indeed I will, because to be honest with you, Cyber, it looks like a really nice route indeed, with steam locomotives as well. Although I'm going to be driving it with a 150 still first, but I'll consider driving it by steam train, because I'm absolutely terrible with a steam train. But it's good. It's not. It doesn't hurt me. It won't hurt me to give it a go. It will harm the railway, but nothing. It'll be fine. What could go wrong? And the last set of questions, which are 2 questions, are from the Conquerlord. The first question is, what's your opinion on the Class 172s? I am interested to know. Wow. This is going to be a long one. They're rubbish. They replaced the 150s, my beloved, all the 150 type 1s and the 150 type 2s from London Midland in 2011. They were either transferred to the north or down south. That's First Great Western. They also replaced the 153s. All 8 of them. Wow. Well, they replaced some at first, and then the last 150s went in 2019 to Northern, and then in 2020 the last of the 153s were put into storage, with one of them being scrapped. So they're not only rubbish, they have seats harder than a Class 800 IET, because they're rock hard iron board seats. The heating's off. The what's it called now? They rattle. It feels like the train's going to fall apart. And of every 6 trains I've calculated, all of the engines are not working. One of them is off. Of 2 carriages, only 1 train is working, because the other one's shut off, because it's rubbish. They keep breaking down. They're part of West Midlands trains, which don't really do very well at the moment, like with London Midland as shown as well, because cancellations, delays, staff shortage, because they don't treat their staff very well, and because of COVID. They replaced my childhood trains? Say, man. Oh. Also, whose idea was it to put them between Birmingham and Hereford on a hilly gradient line? Glossop, man. The 170s do better, and the 153s, because they are designed for the Glossop. Never mind. So, in general, they are rubbish, and they sound rubbish as well. I don't like them, mostly because of the replacing the 150s. And I am hopefully, I pray that the 196s will do a better job than the 172s. Granted, they are still new, they will have teething problems, right? But the 172s have been in service since 2011 and they still have teething problems. 150s are 35 to 40 years old and they are still running. Fine, may I ask? That's why I don't like the 170s. Second and final question from the Conquerlord. How long have you been into trains? Since 2001. So I was around 3 years old at the time. And yeah, just travelling on the train between Kiddy and Birmingham and Worcester got me into trains, the 150s. And then my first actual train spot was 2008 at Worcester Shrub Hill. And then I created my YouTube channel in 2011. So that's it for this Q&A video. Thank you to everybody for all of your questions. I've enjoyed ranting and answering your questions as well. And I'd also like to say thank you to everyone, as I've just reached 400 subscribers. I hope you've enjoyed the video as always. Thank you for watching and stay safe everyone.